time efficient or time restricted training. Let's see if I can do the video in an efficient time restricted manner, since it's a video about time restricted training. So a lot of you don't have a lot of time to train. Yeah, neither do I. Life happens. We're all busy. None of us are, well, I shouldn't say none of us. Most of you watching this aren't professional athletes. I assume I don't have professional athletes watching me. Now, if you were Hafthor Bjornsson, for example, you can spend, 4 or 5 hours in the gym where you do one heavy set and rest for 15 minutes and then do another heavy set and rest for 15 minutes and get this optimal strength training in, which is truly, like, that's the secret to being optimal when it comes to strength training is rest longer. Lift really heavy loads and rest longer. Now, some of you might only need 5 minutes of rest. Because, you're not as strong as he is. But still, the point being, you need to rest longer. If you want to maximize your strength, rest longer between sets. Lift something very, very heavy. Doesn't matter how many reps you're doing it for. You're doing something very hard for 5, and you rest completely before you do another set of 5. Okay. But for people like myself, I can't train, quote, optimally. So I do what I can, all right? And so what I do is I do things on a timer. So this is my workout. So for 10 minutes, I will do either a run. So I'll run for a minute, walk for a minute, run for a minute, walk for a minute. It's called a fartlek run. I'll do a run, or I'll push a sled back and forth for 10 minutes, or I'll do some type of farmer walk for 10 minutes, okay? And that is my, quote, warm-up, if you will, all right? The next thing I do is then I hit a timer, and I have 15 minutes to do as many sets as I can of 3 overhead press, 3 pull-ups, just back and forth. It's a superset, but in reality, I don't even know if I'd call it a superset because I rest less than 30 seconds between sets. So it's like 3 presses, 3 pull-ups, and then you take a short rest and do 3 presses and 3 pull-ups. And you do as many sets as you can in 15 minutes. Typically, I can get 15 or 16 sets in, which isn't bad. That's a lot of work in a short amount of time. And then I move on to squats, and I front squat and do kettlebell swings. And I've got 15 minutes to do as many front squats and kettlebell swings as I can. So now we're 30 minutes into the workout. And then I move on to front squats, and I don't have a second barbell, so I have to use a trap bar for this. Otherwise, if I had a second barbell, I would just use barbell. So, the third movement combination is front squats and trap bar deadlifts. I go back and forth between front squats and trap bar deadlifts for 15 minutes. And then 15 minutes of trap bar deadlifts. I load that heavy, and I do behind the neck presses with that. Because I think it's really important to just make sure you're doing that movement. I think behind the neck presses are really critically important. It's not super heavy, okay? Loads, you got to choose the load based off of how many reps you're doing, okay? So, if I'm doing overhead presses, I'm doing like 135 pounds for 3, okay? So 3 presses, 3 pull-ups. That's a great workout for me. I love that one. When it comes to front squats, because this is very conditioning based and I'm moving fast and I'm trying to get as much work done as I can, I'll do 95 pounds for sets of 10. I might do 135 pounds for sets of 8. Maybe I'll do something around 155 to 175 for sets of 4. Or 5 for that matter, as I'm super picky, 4 or 5. By the time I'm up to 205, 225, I'm probably doing sets of 3 or 4. If I'm going to go really heavy and I start getting into like 275 to 315, we're talking sets of 1 to 2 reps back and forth. Whenever I do heavy on the front squat, I go light on the trap bar deadlift. So the trap bar deadlift will be like 135 to 185 pounds. And maybe I'm doing, 5 or 6 reps of that. So it's intentionally light. So the front squat is the heavy part. Just like the press is hard, the pull-up is easy. The front squat is hard. The kettlebell swing is easy. the front squat is hard, the trap bar deadlift is easy. And then finally, I load up the trap bar with as many plates as I can fit on it. So somewhere around 275 to 315, depending on how I put my plates on there. I would put more on there if I could. So this is why I'm doing sets of 5 or more. So you'll see me do sets of 5 or 10, somewhere between that, 5 to 10 reps of 275 to 315. And then my behind the neck press is something very light. Maybe I'll do like 115 to 125 pounds for sets of 4. Or maybe I'll do something even lighter, like 95 pounds for sets of 10, whatever it is. But I just go back and forth between those movements, and this is the thing. So each of those combinations, this adds up to an hour. It's 15 minutes of each one. And that's what I do. I get as much work done as I can in that 15-minute window. And it kind of auto-regulates itself, because like when you're tired and you feel like shit, maybe you get 10 sets in 15 minutes. And when you feel great, maybe you get like 16 sets in 15 minutes. The other day I did 16 sets of trap bar deadlift and behind the neck press in 15 minutes. So, when you think about these things, like you got to combine stuff intelligently. Don't go so heavy that, you're frying yourself. But I get a lot of work done in 15 minutes, and it's a 15-minute block, and then I move on to the next 2 movements back and forth. And I'm also very quick about loading plates. I have things set up ahead of time so that it's very fast for me to just throw a plate on. And basically you're looking at an hour and 10 minutes. And if I have to, I'll just skip the front squat and kettlebell, and I'll just do the front squat and trap bar deadlift. So because it's kind of redundant, I front squat and then I front squat again. But that's because I start off light on the front squat and then I go heavier as I get through the workout. So that's just something to think about. And once in a while I'll finish the workout off with maybe if I have a couple minutes left. It's not guaranteed, but if I have like 5 minutes, I'll do like 2 sets of 20 to 25 reps Dimmel deadlift. If you're doing the Dimmel deadlift correctly, you just put like 20%, maybe 20% of your deadlift on the bar and do like 2 sets of 20 to 25 reps. They should be fast. It's a Dimmel deadlift. And so you don't need to rest a long time either. And that should take less than 5 minutes. So there you go. That's like the whole workout. And that's an hour and 15 minutes at absolute worst. Like I said, if I'm pressed for time, I just chop out the front squat kettlebell part. So there's another 15 minutes knocked off your workout. And of course, if I'm really pressed for time, then I don't do the Dimmel deadlift either. So now it's a 45-minute workout. It's not a bad workout. 10 minutes for the warm-up still. I go for that run beforehand. And you know what? Sometimes I even cut that short. Sometimes I'll just run for 4 to 6 minutes. It doesn't have to be strict. You don't have to do a 10-minute run every time. Sometimes I just push the sled continuously for 4 minutes. Just push, 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 push. And then I just go straight into the overhead presses and pull-ups. Is this the most optimal way to train? No, not at all. Not at all. I wouldn't train this way if I had time to do more. But I don't have time to do more. And I'll go ahead and point out to you guys, if you want to change this up even, you can make it even shorter. Just press and pull. So whether you do some type of overhead press or behind the neck press, and combine that with a bent over row or a pull up, okay, and then you could just do squats, back squats for that matter, or front squats with some type of deadlift back and forth. And then the next day switch it up and go pull up first, press second, and then deadlift first, squat second. So whatever you're doing though, the first movement is the heavy one, right? So if I'm doing front squats and trap bar deadlifts, because I don't have a second bar, the front squat is heavy, the trap bar deadlift is light. If I was going to do trap bar deadlift and front squat, then I would make the trap bar deadlift heavy and then the front squat would be light. But in this case, as I gave this scenario, the trap bar deadlift is the heavy one, 315 for a set of 5 to 10 reps. I have no idea how many reps I'm going to do each set. I just go until it feels really hard, and then I just move on to the behind the neck press, which is light. It's like maybe 125 pounds for a set of 4 or 5 reps. So like that's intentionally light. And that's pretty much how I treat things. Like that's a time restricted workout. You get through it quickly, you get a lot of work done in a short window of time. Is it the best way to train for strength? Absolutely not. Will you get stronger doing it? Yes, you will. And there's a conditioning element to it too, because like I'm not a power lifter and I'm not a weightlifter. I do this to be better at sports. So I want the conditioning element. Like that's part of the game. So I don't really care what my max squat is or what my max deadlift is. It's more important for me to maintain strength and build strength, even if it has to be sub-maximal weights. I'm not pulling 1 rep maxes. And in a different training block, when I have more time, that's when I'll go heavy. So, this is just something for you guys to think about. Like I said, time restricted training, you can get a lot done in a short amount of time if you're smart about how you program it.